Wednesday evening, if that's when you're watching. Tonight, we're going to have a little time for prayer with each other. If you'd like to put your prayer out in the public world, and some of the other folk who are watching will also lift up your prayers, put them in the public chat. If you'd like to send off some private ones, you can send them to me through direct message. But take a little second and calm your heart, and let's get some prayer on. Let's begin tonight with prayers for all that have experienced natural disasters in all sorts of places. We pray for those who have experienced hurricanes, like those in Puerto Rico, those in Florida, and all of the places in the world that have been swept by storm and rain and flooding. God, please be with all who have experienced natural disasters. Help recovery to be swift. Be with those who are seeking an end to wildfires. Help our planet to have proper amounts of moisture in all the places that need it. Where there is wildfire, bring relief, and where there is drought, bring rain. God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. God, we ask you to be with all who are worried about elections. We particularly lift up the elections that are happening in spaces that shift United States politics. We pray that hate will decrease and love will increase, and that whomever is elected will be good stewards of your finances and care for the people that are in their geographical areas that they represent. God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. God, we lift up in prayer all who are seeking education, those who are teachers, those who are students, those who are teaching in Sunday school and at camps, those who are in colleges, and those who are seeking to create spaces where folk can learn in new and diverse ways. We pray in particular for those who provide care for those with disabilities and those who are helping individuals who normally are not able to achieve different levels of educational status, who are moving and shaking and ensuring that the world is full of paths that make it possible for all people to achieve. God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. Pray this evening for the safety of children. We pray that all who are living in poverty will have food that they need, shelter for their safety, and that those who are living in situations of domestic violence will have safe spaces that they can decrease the amount of violence in their life. God, help us to be people who are supporting those who are victims of misconduct, caring for them and believing their stories. God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. God, we pray for all who are seeking to decrease their bias, who are naming their privileges, who are caring for folk who have intersectional embodiments in the world. We pray especially for those who are seeking to reorganize and reconstitute and to have systems and organizations that are more just. Particularly, we hope that you will help our faith communities to live as much justice as possible, that there can be as much intersectional diversities in the places that make those decisions, and that we will not, in fear and in times of change, revert back to ways that exclude, disempower, and make choices that are same old, and favoring those who are already amongst us. God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. I pray today for all who have experienced discriminatory legislation. Pray in particular for LGBTQ individuals. We pray for those who are trans, and in a special way for all of the violence that they experience. God, be with all who are seeking equitable ways to love and to be loved. Help all people to be able to self-identify, to be held as beloved by their family, and to find support and safety in the places that they live. God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. Pray for all who grieve today, particularly those who have recently lost loved ones. We hope that all who are mourning will know that they are not alone, even when it feels lonely in a crowded space. That those who are learning to have new relationships with those they have lost will cling on to memories that help to buoy them up and point them towards love, and let go of memories that hold people in harmful situations. God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. We pray this week for all who are faith leaders, those who are working in faith communities, those who serve as chaplains, those who are working in the military, and those who are studying to become faith leaders. We pray especially for deacons, deaconesses, and all of the community of people throughout different faithful spaces that volunteer. Those who do the best they can with what they have, who wonder if they know enough to be able to share their faith with others, and who find connection to God in a variety of ways. Help us to be people who more often are able to share where we notice God is than to point out where we notice God is not. God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. We pray this week for all who have encountered cancer, those who have experienced radiation, chemotherapy, or surgery, that healing may be swift, that their fragile immune systems may stay guarded and protected, that scientists and nurses and doctors and all who are helping to find an end to cancer will be successful soon and very soon. God, be with those who are living with COVID, both short-term encounters and long-term experiences. Help us to be people who are staying as safe as possible and who are doing our best to protect our neighbors. God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. We continue to pray also for those who living with HIV and AIDS, those who have chronic health issues or long-term mental health struggles, with those who have disabilities, both the disabilities that are beloved to them and they name and claim as wonderful additions to their life, and those who struggle with limited mobility and disabilities in ways that are less easy to adapt to. Help all be able to live as fully as possible, as close to their baseline as possible, and to be able to have healthy encounters in the world. God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. Pray for all who seek wellness in their life. Those who are seeking to decrease debt, may it be so. Those who are seeking to have a healthy ratio of fat in their body, whether it's to increase it or decrease, may it be so. For those who are trying to be healthier and exercise more, may it be so. Those who are trying to love their body, regardless of the way the flaps and the folds hang on their body, may that be so. And may all who are going through any sort of transition learn to adopt and adapt and feel comfortable and beloved in this world. God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. There is so much that we long to experience in this world. We wish that justice would flow like an uncontained fire hydrant, that we could be people that amplify love, but we know that sometimes we injure others, both when we know we've done it and when we don't know we've done it. God, help us to be people that are more often bringing your justice near, and that when we have misstepped or created an obstacle for others, that we may learn more, do better, and find ways to mend fences. God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. God, especially bless those who are feeling lost, lonely, anxious, tired, weary, those who might be numb and unsure about what is next. Help all who are wondering if they should continue in this world to find ways to live through the day, through the week, through the month, and to do so in ways that help transform what feels hard into something that is easier. Help us to all be like phoenixes rising from the dust. God, be with all who are dwelling in the ache. God, in your mercy, hear our prayer. Be with those who are longing for connection, whether it's companionship, whether it is partnership, whether it is more friends, or just simply ways to experience true human connection in this world, or the perfect pet, whatever it is. Help us to be people who feel connected to this beloved ecosystem around us, and help us to be people who retain more of the positive that comes our way than the negative. Be a salve that heals us, and especially the places where aches and pains and name calling or discrimination has clung to our hearts. Heal us, reform us, and lead us forward on calmer pathways. God, in mercy, hear our prayer. God, you have been someone who comes into this world, who understands humanness, who has sought to provide teachings that inspire, and have also encountered difficulties, struggles, and in the midst of walking through that shadow of death, trampled down death forever. Be with us as we walk through this world, for all of the kaleidoscopic ways that we notice you on this planet, and help us to live your peace. We also invite private prayers, those prayers that are so with deep sighs that cannot yet be expressed. Time for those wordless prayers to be lifted up. And now here from the Garden of Gethsemane, I want to encourage you to lift up prayers that are so private and personal that you only want to share them with God, or a trusted faith leader who will keep them in confidence. You can share them in direct message here or through email, or find a trusted person you want to share your prayers with. But remember that God is able to hold even what is hard. Take some time and ponder some of those prayers.